The other day, I had my young student Omar having a go on Stingray, and we were looking at those high forehand volleys. We had to step back, and what you'll notice is he's having to play off his open stance. There's a few technical things we've been working on that we just need to look to improve, but just this repetition of the volleys up there, it's a real key part of the court. Especially that he's a lefty going to be playing against a right-hander. So the right-hander is obviously going to be deep in the backhand there. He's looking to come across and start to intercept all those volleys and play a range of shots as well. We weren't just doing one shot. So I might break down some of the technique bit by bit as we go. So let me just run this through a little bit more. So he tends to have a little bit of a slightly broken wrist position, and I'll talk about that and I'll slow it down. And there's a good example. As he's lining up for it, he's really good at like getting his racket up. It's really nice. I would like to see that elbow popping up a little bit higher. So if I'm just gonna zoom into here a little bit, let me zoom in. There we go. As he's tracking back, I think that elbow looks a little bit tucked in because then there's quite a big movement. Let's see there. See that there? It just gets a little bit sloppy. And what it does, you probably notice that it just gets his balance falling backwards ever so slightly. And we've been working on this with Omar for quite a while. He definitely gets too close to the ball. So there's this spacing that we're trying to figure out, and he's trying to get that measure a little bit more. But as he hits there, and you will definitely open up on that forehand volley a little bit, but you can probably see there that he's just not quite timing that right. He's opened himself up a little bit too much. And then by the time he makes contact, that's not an optimal position. And you'll notice now what happens in and around there. Let's just go through it bit by bit. So there it looks a little bit loose, hits it, doesn't hit the middle of the strings. And you can just see that racket or that wrist bending. And for me, that's where we just got to get him a little bit more solid, where he's able to punch that ball a little bit more and be more secure on it. That was quite a good one. Let me go back there for a second. So again, Albert could be a little bit further away, but we've worked a lot on this technique and he's improving a lot with where he was even a year ago or even less than. Possibly still a bit too many moving parts that are possibly just a little bit complicated, but some really good stuff he's doing there. Look at that. Really good legs and balance, keeping himself in this really strong position, head up nice and strong and tight. I love that. And also a big note, that reach. And as much as he's reaching, he's also getting his racket head just above the wrist. That's so important to control a dipping ball, an awkward volley drop. Does really well there, plays it, but he just clips the top of the tin. But I'll take that. I really like a lot of what he's doing there. Plays it, and notice that little bit of transfer of weight back to the tee. I really like that as well. Again, if I'm being a little bit fussy, let's look at the follow through. Possibly just goes down to the ground a little bit too much rather than just a little bit more going through towards the target area. You see, he just trails it down. But there's a lot of good, even though he clips the tin on that, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Let's see how he does with the next year. And there might be a few little different ones to pick up on. Good. He's moving really well. I like the alertness in what he's doing. Just snatched that one a little bit. God, again, look at that. Just opening up there. That's not optimal. Again, we need to keep him a little bit more side on. Like I said, there's going to be a natural openness to that forehand volley, but you can just see, and maybe he's just overreaching a little bit, and that just clips the top of the frame of his racket, and then the follow through. Look at that. That then pulls it down a little bit. So yes, he's going for the short shot. So you have to pull it down, but the steepness and the severity of that, rather than it just being a bit more of a natural dip, I think is where it needs a little bit of work. Yeah, you can just see it's a bit risky there, can't you? You can just get that sense that he goes there, he breaks it down, and look at that there. You just see the racket face rolling over, and then, there's just too much of that going on. So I think when we're to or if we do this in the future, which we will, I just want to get him being a little bit tighter with that follow through, less army, less wristy. And it's not bad. Where does the shot go? Lands just a bit short. And then also, is there a bit of an overreach? It feels like a little bit of an overreach. So, you need to maybe just adjust the feet a little bit, get slightly further back for that optimal position. Let's see how else you think. But lots of good urgency, lots of good purpose. And these balls were being pushed back a little bit more to really get him to reach and stretch and challenging him to play a few different shots. That's a nice one. And again, there, some of the little quirks in his swing are possibly quite good because he was able to pull it down, angle it down towards the ground, and it gets nice and tight. It didn't quite take it early enough. Let's see if there's a bit more range of shot going on what he's doing. But you can just see with some good repetition here, he's starting to get it and get just stopped on that follow through. And that one, that was nice. Let's just look at those last two. So the last one where he didn't get it up. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, just doesn't commit fully, does he? He hits it nicely in the middle. And look at that. He just stops it. Does he do anything different here? Let's see. Maybe the follow through is a little bit better. Yes, you can just see the difference there, can't you? There's just a little bit more intention in the follow through. Like you don't necessarily need or want a big follow through. Again, he goes down quite severe. I'd like that to be a bit more shallower as he's going for that volley drop, but lovely placement. I talk about floorboard squash a lot, just getting it up against those floorboards, letting the side wall, the tightness of that, do the damage for the opponents. Let's watch the last little few as he jumps in. Nice little change of direction. Good. See people like Ali Farag doing that a lot, just change the direction of the last second. Not quite getting his cross court right. And again, maybe because of, the slight floppiness there, a lot of moving parts going on. You see it not quite up there. That takes a long time. And then as he hits, that ball has now pushed too far back in his wheelhouse. So his natural wheelhouse of a swing, that ball should be taken a little bit further forward if he's wanting to get it on that wall and then whip a cross court in. And again, there's just something you can probably see. It just doesn't look comfortable, does it? He's stretching, he's reaching. And again, let me be really complimentary. I'm loving that he's reaching there. But we're probably now just getting into the phase where he's overstretching and overreaching. And there's such a balance to be had because there's a little bit of a force there. Doesn't quite get it right. And so he's having to compensate with his wrist, doesn't hit in the middle, and then leaves himself exposed. But some really good stuff here from Omar. Yeah, looking forward to working on this in the future. And again, I know it stops the video just at that last point, but just that little change, that little chip there. But again, is it just a little bit deep? So yeah, hopefully that helps everyone, and a few little key tips that will be good for Omar himself, but for all of you watching as well. I hope that helps. I'll see you all again soon.